folks. What's up, guys? As you can tell, we're loading big poplar. My rotate motor is gone. I'm talking about I ain't got no rotation. Whatever the log makes it do. But as far as controlling it, I can't control it. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if the motor's gone, the shaft broke, or what. We're trying to beat the rain, so we really hadn't looked at it. All that much, and I got ladybugs everywhere. What was I telling y'all? Oh, the way I got into running the loader full time, I know some of y'all haven't heard, some of y'all have heard. I've always wanted to do this, always dreamed of doing it, I guess. I was born into it, raised up in it. Well, in 2010, no, about 2010, 2008 through 9, Daddy had kind of partner stuff, but before that, we had a guy that worked at the shop, kind of a partnership thing, splitting firewood, hauling, delivering firewood to Raleigh and everything else. And I was homeschooled, so I'd get done with my schoolwork about lunchtime every day. So once I got done, I'd go outside and help him with the firewood or help him deliver it and stack it and everything. We dealt with a lot of restaurants, a lot of upscale stuff that use firewood, stuff like that. So, but we did pretty much everywhere in Raleigh. And then had 2 firewood processors, a skid steer, all kinds of stuff. And then he moved his stuff, I don't know, I think it was by 2010 or 9. He moved his stuff to, I'm 25, so this will put it in perspective. And I did that from the time I was about 12, old enough to actually efficiently help him. Then he moved his stuff to Durham, which is right down the road from Raleigh. Did it up there and did all kinds of stuff. Grew it a little bit more. Well, then he got tired of everybody in Durham telling him what he could do as far as regulations and everything. So he moved his stuff back to the shop. And whenever he moved his stuff back to the shop, I helped him for a little while and learn where he had to go and all that good stuff. And then I bought it from him. And whenever I'm 25 now, about probably 23, 21, 22, whenever I bought it from him. No, I was younger than that. I was 19 or 20 whenever I bought it from him. So I started doing that. I enjoyed it, but it was a lot. It was a whole bunch of work for you couldn't charge for so much. You did a whole lot of physical labor, and they didn't appreciate it, I guess is a good way to put it. So, I mean, because I stacked out. I was stacking, on an average week, 20,000 pounds of wood, hand stacking 20,000 pounds of wood. So, I did that, and it got to where Daddy needed my help, so I started running the loader full time, or during the day. It was full time. I run the loader during the day for him, and I'd go load firewood and haul it at night. I'd leave the shop 5 o'clock at night and stay gone in Raleigh till, I don't know, it's probably on average night 11 o'clock stacking wood. I won't partying. I was stacking wood. Um, there was a lot of nights I didn't even eat. I guess I could have got something from the restaurant I was stacking the wood at, but I didn't even eat. Miss Logger Brandon helped a lot. She rode with me on the nights whenever I was just wore out. She helped me. Um, so I'm very thankful for that. And it wore me down. I realized I couldn't do it anymore. So I started looking somebody to buy it from me because it was just too much to let go to waste. There was a guy in Raleigh. He was a year or two younger than me. His father's a big logger around here. And he actually had got into the firewood and was doing a pretty good little amount of it. So he ended up buying it from me. Well, before he bought it, I sold the skid steer that we had, bought the equivalent to a Takahauchi. It was a Mustang, but it was a Takahauchi TL 150 or 250. I think it was a 250 pretty much, with a forestry mulcher on it. I ran it, stayed busy with it, just as busy with it as I did firewood. Um, Started getting some age on it, and I started getting tired of working on it, all that good stuff. So I sold it, bought a Kubota KX80 with a flail head. It had a mulching head. It had a bucket, a hydraulic thumb, and a root rake to go with it. So I bought that, stayed busy with it, just as busy as I wanted to, down there at John's, and then sold it and bought the dozer that I have now. So that's just kind of a rundown of my last 25 years. I was homeschooled since the 3rd grade. I had they call it a learning disability. What is it? Dyslexic. Dyslexic. I don't know. It's where I can't comprehend words or something. I don't know. It ain't never slowed me down before, but and I was going to go to school to get my forester degree and all that stuff and this, that, and the other. And I would have, but you have to go through so much BS to learn what you need to learn. No. I didn't care to do all that. So here I am. I've been running a loader for solid for 4 years now. Again, 4 or 5 years. So that's what I'm doing. And I mean, it's not that I didn't want to, but in 2010, or whenever I bought the firewood business, Daddy had slowed down to nothing because the economy was so bad and everything else. All our stuff was paid for, so we just parked everything, or he parked everything. So I found me something to do, and him and Howard cut some small tracks here or there. I mean, anything that they could get to make some money on. But I mean, you can't. At that time, you couldn't put all your eggs in one basket, and I've always been good at not putting all my eggs in one basket. So this that I'm loading is saw logs, hardwood saw logs, going to a sawmill right down about 60 miles away. They're pretty easy to deal with, but So yeah, that's my 25-year story. So whenever, and I mean, I, I did. I overworked a lot. I for until Miss Logger Brandon, I didn't. I mean, all I did was work. So I never really, and you can ask pretty much anybody that knows me, has known me my entire life. I never was a kid. If there was an adult, like a conversation going on about work or anything, I was standing there listening. I could care less about playing if I could learn something about what I wanted to do. So I never really had a teenage years, I guess. So yeah. So anybody that you talk to will tell you I'm an old man myself. Um, and I mean it does show. It wouldn't. The stacking the wood won't bad. I messed my shoulder up whenever I was a little bit younger. So that didn't help, but um, the thing that's the worst is my hips because genetically I have pretty bad hips. Whenever it gets cold, they hurt, or whenever I sit in a piece of equipment too long without stretching, they hurt. Sorry, I had a phone call. But yeah, I have genetically bad hips, so stacking wood, carrying wood, toting wood, pushing wheelbarrows, and all that on concrete with work boots on, 20,000 pounds a week. And I'm not exaggerating, like, as far as with the 20,000 pounds, I was hauling 4,000 pounds loads, which would do 2 restaurants, 5, 6 times a week. Sometimes it'd be 4, but sometimes it'd be 6. Because I had a 450 Ford, which that's a story in itself, which I'll have to tell y'all one day. That would haul almost 2 cords, 2 full cords, and I'd carry it about 3/4 of the way full. Um, every every day pretty much. So, and I had done that since I was 12. I mean, I didn't drive the truck, but I rode with him and helped him stack it. But so, yes, sir. I've had a lot of abuse done, but with walking and everything else. And even now, I mean, I can still tell it. Yeah, I just figured I'd let y'all know. I'm a quarter of a century old, but I got a buddy. He is 40, right there at 40. And I've always hung out with older people. Like, either my friends are my age, a little bit younger, or above 35, 36. Even whenever I was young, I hung out with people older, but um, a buddy of mine, he tells his youngest, he said, Brandon he never was a kid. He said he grew up he was old before his time, I guess is what he said. And he said he's lived a life of 20 men. That's what he tells them. And he's graded and logged his entire life. He's done one or the other. He graded for himself and then lost.